In today's podcast episode, I sit down with Ayesha Sehra, who is the podcast host of Coffee and a Good Vibe and also the founder of the PR agency firm Grow the Social. And in today's podcast episode, we go all over the place. We speak about how she got her US work visa, how she started her podcast, and how you could do the same. She shares just how big of an impact journaling can have on you getting to know yourself. She talks about visualization and how to step into your future highest version of yourself. All the things that I am so passionate about and that I know a lot of you guys are passionate about as well. We also talk about health and fitness and how to navigate working out and nutrition when you live a busy lifestyle and have a lot of things on your plate, and how to navigate different seasons of life. And we also speak about dating, how it feels to be turning 30 this year, because we both are turning 30 this year, and navigating the dating scene as two individuals who want to prioritize their time wisely. So get ready with your coffee or on your beautiful nature walk or drive to work, because today's episode is beautiful. And without further ado, let's welcome Ayesha Sehra to the Challenge Your Norm podcast. Ayesha, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Even though you were cold all day on
I'm
the west
so
side.
grateful to be here. You like literally walk into your beautiful home and studio and you're like blanket, water, everything that I need when I'm like moving so much today, out like doing so many things and running around at LA like normal.
I'm so grateful that you made time to come here today.
I'm so excited. It's the best end to the day.
I'm so excited. And you have created such incredible things in your life. You have a successful PR firm, agency, podcast. It's called Coffee and a Good Vibe.
Yes!
Which, when I heard that name, I was like, that is such an awesome name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone says like, it's so funny. They're like, coffee in a good time. I'm like, no, coffee and a good vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like so grateful to have the name and like trademark it, because I just like so me. I started it so long ago and it's like a part of you. It's like when you start your own brand, it ends up becoming like so into your life that it's like your second name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But you now live in LA.
Yes.
But you're not from here.
No, and neither are you.
No, I'm not. You came here from Canada.
Yeah.
You were 22 years old, right? Can you share with us what made you want to come to the US? What made you move from your country? And, getting a US work visa, that's not easy, because I've done that myself as well. And just, can you share with us your journey to getting here?
I would love to. I feel like it's like the ones who aren't from the States will really hear me and understand this, because it is not easy. When you're not American born, like, they don't make it easy to, like, I know the news shares so many things, especially right now, but like, it is not an easy journey, which honestly, like, I'm not here to say like it's not easy. No, it's so rewarding though, because when you do, when everything does align, and when you do work so hard to make a dream a reality and it comes into fruition, like, that part of it, like, no one can take that away. And like the gratitude, the appreciation, the mindset that comes from it, it's like on another level, because of that how hard the journey is to like prove yourself and to like create something out of nothing, and to really have to show your value of like why you are worthy of kind of like getting a visa.
Yeah.
And having that blessing of a visa. That's what I always tell all my American friends. I'm like, you're so grateful just to like be born here. Like, I think we take the simple things for granted. The simple thing of like where you're born makes such a difference to how easy or challenging your life could be. And I think people need to acknowledge that. So even if you are listening to this episode and you're like, I'm American, like, no, I hope that when I share a little bit on the journey, it makes you have so much gratitude for the simple things. And like every single day, it's to this day, I still, today's not a good example of this. Like, it's not sunny. It's like gloomy and cold. But like, usually it's sunny when it's cold in the rest of the world. Like, with seasons, it's beautiful. We look outside, we see palm trees, we see sunshine. It's so it's such a blessing to live here. And when you work so hard to call this place home, it never gets old. And like the second that gets old to me, or I take it for granted, I take a beach walk for granted. I'm like, that's the second I need to check myself and like get back to gratitude. But long time ago, so when I was 22, I wanted to move here. Like, I think a lot of people who are similar to me, who have like big dreams and always see like Los Angeles to me looked super perfect. Like, I always was like, I want to live there. I want to be in an environment where I could be so close to the beach. I could be living this lifestyle that I see and it's on my vision board. And yes, it's so much easier. It's such a different experience when you travel here, because I traveled when I was like 21 with a bunch of friends, and I was like, oh my god, LA, it's the dreamland. And it's very different when you like then commit to going down the path of figuring out how you can legally move and going through the visa and getting into the reality of that, right? Like, you to get I did the E2 visa, which Canada and US have a treaty, and it's I think Australia has it as well, but basically it's where, as a Canadian, if you start an LLC, a company, and you basically you create a business plan for 5 years, which is like the amount of time they'll give you the visa for, and then you can renew it. Basically, you're showing the US consulate, the US, that like, okay, if we give this person a visa, this is the business they want to bring to the US. This is the job opportunity it's going to create. This is the economic stimulation it's going to provide for the US economy. This is how much tax it's going to pay. This is how much employment it's going to do. This is how much it's going to help US companies. This is the competitive market and why this company is going to add to the economy. And because the US is thriving as it is, it's like, why do we need you, right? So it's a very intense journey and process to do that visa, and at 22 I decided to take that on, and that whole journey that could be a whole podcast in itself. It was a lot, but going through that at 22 and then being very successful with it, you have no choice but to succeed when you put so much skin in the game. And that's like what I say to people all the time, like, make moves outside your comfort zone and grow, because when you do that, sometimes I was that type of stubborn person that wouldn't give myself any other option but to like get to the other side, because of how much skin I would always put in the game and how I would always take the bet on myself.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like such a loaded journey, but
when you were speaking, I was reminded of all the things I went through that's the thing. Mine was different, but yours seemed even harder. Mine was an artist visa. I was a dancer at the time, but for me, it was like having to prove that I was such an extraordinary talent that could add to the entertainment industry here.
It's such an amazing place to live, and the US is full of incredible companies and oh my god, like talent everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So I get why it's also so difficult.
Yeah.
But like it makes you better.
That's the thing. You started off sharing that it toughened you up, right? Like, it got you to know that if you set your mind to something really freaking challenging and you go full force towards it, you can make it happen. Because when we go through something that is so hard and we follow through with it, it does like expand our self-belief and our what we believe we're capable of.
100%. And like, once I got my visa, I was like, okay, now it's like off to the races. Like, I have to continue to grow and scale, and it's so crazy. Like, last year was the 5-year visa renewal.
Wow.
So it's like everything. I think the whole 5 years I was always trying to push and like create the best business I can, because I knew that renewal was coming in 5 years, and then I'm going to be like looked at again. It's like the same kind of process, but it's different because it's a renewal. But like, they look at everything. Okay, did this girl like create the economic stimulation that we wanted, create the job opportunity, bring in the financial, because they care about the financials because it's the tax.
Yeah.
And like, you really like, you put more skin in the game. And I also feel like once it was like I got it, it was like, okay, off to the races. And the entrepreneurial journey, it's never linear. It's a roller coaster. And I think that looking back, I'm like, wow, if I can go through that, I can go through all the hurdles and the roadblocks that do come when you're an entrepreneur every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day is a new adventure.
Yeah. And your go-getterness, I feel, so we met at an event a couple of weeks ago where you were speaking as one of the podcast hosts that was sharing her story. And at that event, you started sharing how you had started your podcast, how you just boldly reached out to these entrepreneurs who were willing to give them your time. And I feel like that same grit that you used to get your visa, you kind of continued using that when starting your podcast. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, during that journey of like navigating the visa and putting myself out there to build the business, get the clients. So then when I got the visa, I'm like ready to go. I leveraged, in any way, like was always that person who would put themselves out there, especially when you move to a new country where you don't know anyone. How are you going to meet people? You have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So that's what I did to make friends, to make business connections. And because I was doing it, I was like, oh, wow, I should be recording this because I'm so shocked with certain people who are sitting down with me to like mentor me, get coffee with me. Like I'm shocked. Like I need to record these conversations. And then it kind of like from the get-go, me wanting to record it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record the audio and then make them for a YouTube channel or like record the video for a YouTube. And then my editor was like, I also made them in audio format. And then I just started making it I made it a podcast.
That's incredible.
And it's so cool how it evolved from there.
Yeah. For someone who wants to start a podcast, because I've actually gotten quite a few messages for people who want to do that. How did you just get started? Like, because there's so much fear involved. There's like, what camera, what microphone?
Yeah.
And you shared a little bit about that in the event as well. And I would love for you to share it with the audience who are curious about maybe it's not even a podcast, maybe it's a blog or it's a YouTube channel, but they want to start.
I think it's so much like now in this day and age, I think it comes down to first for any social platform is like knowing who you are. It could be so easy to like dive into social media and then get lost in the sauce. But the more, when you're established in your career, like the more you know who you are, the more you can create authentic content. If it's a podcast, brand the podcast and ask questions and get alignments of guests that align to who you are. And if it's an extension of you and something you're passionate about, that's going to show through in your content. And then even with any other social platform, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, like TikTok, when you know who you are and you know what you're passionate about and you know what you love to speak on and you know what your value is, you can create content so easily and it's like effortless. And it kind of has to be.
How does someone find out who they are?
Oh my God. So I'm a journaling crazy person. Like I live by my routines and my journaling. And I believe, I love talking about this stuff because it's everything. Like I think Tim Ferriss said journaling is the cheapest form of therapy.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely agree because especially if I remember when I moved here and I was in that process and like when you move to a new country and you're also like building a business, like, cash flow isn't thriving yet, and therapy and things like that can be a lot of money. And I think it's an excuse to say like, oh, I can't do therapy, so I'm not going to do anything. Like we can literally sit down with a notebook in silence and get to know yourself. And that's free. Like it's so beyond to me. Like on the weekends especially, I'll take myself on solo coffee dates intentionally, and I look forward to it most. And every time I think about, oh, Ayesha, like, fill it with a friend's time, like this Saturday, I'm like planning out my weekend on the Uber here, and I was like looking at my schedule, and I was like, you need to go sit your ass down at like Soho House, because that's like your favorite place to go where you live, and like get your favorite coffee and like bring your notebook and bring your headphones and like vibe out and get clear and create that space. And sometimes it's fun to like actually set a date and a time and a place and get excited about it. Like go to your favorite coffee shop. But you can also do it in your apartment. You can do it in your home. You can do it outside on the grass. Like you can do it anywhere. But when you create that space to like actually sit with yourself and uncover yourself, you get to know yourself. You get to date yourself. And there's such a profound power in self-awareness and knowing yourself, because that will give you a lot of your answers. Yes, there's value in therapy and all the other things, but I'm just saying like the simple, even when you're in therapy, like I've done like coaching, like with like life coaches and things like that, all the homework of like moving forward comes with like them telling you to go sit alone and then do the work that they give you. It like comes from you like processing things.
I could not agree more. I got to know myself when I started journaling. And the funny thing is, my friend had said, like, I think you'll really enjoy journaling. And I was like, no, I don't think it's for me. But right away when I started, it was like shift in me. And now I've done it every single day for 6 years.
Whenever I'm off too, I'm like, oh, that means I gotta
journal.
When even being an entrepreneur, it's like you go through like pivots or shifts. I'm always pivoting and evolving the agency. I'm always pivoting and evolving in my strategy for my own brand. And I'm like, where do all those answers come from? They come from when I can create the space to slow down and listen to my higher self and get downloads from being in my creative flow. But like when I'm moving a mile a minute, like I do during the weekday sometimes with work, I'm like just so in it with like email, call, this, meeting, this. Like, you're not creating from any higher power place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for someone who, I mean, I talk about journaling all the time on this podcast, but I would love to know from your perspective how someone can get started with journaling. Because a lot of people who like my clients and people who want to get started. So I do have journaling challenges where there's journaling prompts. So I don't know how you journal, if you just do free flow writing, or like how could someone start journaling? Because it can feel overwhelming if you've never done it before.
Ooh, I love this. And I think there's no right or wrong way to do that too, because like there's prompts, there's free flowing. What I like to do, like my prescription would be to, first off, I'm all about the vibes. Set the vibe in the space when you are going to journal. So write in a notebook you love, like get a new notebook, get your favorite pen. Like I also do recommend meditation before. Depending on like if I'm going to a cafe on like a Saturday, I probably am going from like my workout. But like in the morning I'll meditate. But when I journal every day, it's after my meditation. So I do a visualization meditation every morning, and I look at my Pinterest. I'm always creating a mood, like a visual vision board on Pinterest, because I like to always add pins to it and evolve in it, and it evolves with different areas of my life. I have like the lifestyle pillar, the like more materialistic pillar, the career pillar, the personal pillar, the health pillar, of all these goals that I have. And I look at that, and that really gets me excited to then go into my visualization meditation, because I'm like visualizing myself in these realities that I see. And when you do that every single day, you're wiring your subconscious. So when that reality happens, not if, but when it happens, because it's going to happen for you, it already feels familiar. And that's the key to manifestation, is like going there. And after I visualize, then I like to get into journaling once I'm in a calm, like grounded state. And I would recommend free flowing. But if you are someone who likes a prompt, like depending on what area of your life you're trying to like gain clarity around, then I would do certain prompts around that.
That's amazing. I love that you also do visualization. I do that every day too. And I'm big on vision boards too. So
love a vision board.
Yeah.
I'm like a big fan of the Pinterest vision boards.
Yeah, I've never done that. I print them out and then
I used to do it that
way.
But
when you were talking about it, then I'm thinking maybe I should try it to like look through it every day in a different way. I think that could be powerful. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. For some people who I also, have in my community, they can find it hard to figure out what their dreams are. Now, since you were talking about vision boards, some of the people who are in my community, they're like, But how do I find out what I actually want? Do you have any tools for that? Or has that always just come to you supernaturally?
You know, I think we have to give ourselves the permission to dream and want. Like, that's a big part of it. But I think everyone truly has these like big wants and dreams and desires, but like it depends on where they're at with their personal development. Sometimes their limiting beliefs or their self-sabotage blocks them from thinking those thoughts. So I think the first thing is like giving yourself permission to dream big is like a big one. Cause I even catch myself like when I'm like thinking about you have that like little thought that comes in. It's like, you can't get that, that's too much, or like that's too quick to achieve that. No, but miracles are natural and they're possible. And I think a big shift also is like looking at your environment or people online not as competition, not as like jealousy or insecurity within you, but viewing them as an expander for you, showing you what's possible. Because people are only in your path and in your vortex because the universe is like, hey, this is what's possible. Like, I'm sure everyone listening can name someone they follow online, maybe in their circle, in their environment, depending on where they live, that has like something that they desire. And I think it's such a good, beautiful exercise to like understand that they're in your path because you can do it too, and like use them as expanders. And like not only that, but even add more. Like this and
That's scary, but it's also exciting. And I love that you're saying dare to dream big, because a lot of us will limit ourselves.
I feel like we're very similar, where we're really tapped into our communities. And with my community with Coffee and a Good Vibe, it's similar like things. Like you can even feel it when you talk to someone. Like with me having a team, I've like hired on different people. And like whenever I'm doing like an interview, or just even connecting with them for a coffee as like a first like vibe check kind of thing, I will ask them like what are their dreams, goals, aspirations. And sometimes people don't, yeah, exactly what you said, they haven't been asked that, or they haven't allowed their mind to go there.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so happy people are listening to these kinds of episodes when you are here coming on and sharing all of this beautiful wisdom. And you've dared to dream big because you've, well, started the PR and agency firm.
Yeah.
You also now have started doing live events.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to when you came to the US and you set all these big goals and things that you had set out for your company business to do for the next 5 years? You got here, and how did that turn into action steps and flow and turn into what it is today?
Oh my God, so many things. I feel like with having on the company side, it's like once I got that visa, I was like, okay, girl, you have no choice but to now scale and do everything that you promised yourself you were gonna do. So a lot of intentional action every single day. I'm like crazy about Google Calendar, about productivity, about moving the needle forward each day. So I think that we can overwhelm ourselves with what we want in a year, but it's like, what can you, like, taking it back? Like, what do you need to do today to move you closer to the goal that you have in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months? Because it totally compounds. And I think that there's so many little, like, there's so many things that I could, like, go granular with it, so we can go anywhere you want to go. But I think the biggest thing on a day-to-day basis is, like, what is your most important, well, even one thing, like, what is the most important thing right now for you?
I love this. I literally just today, as we're recording this, uploaded a podcast episode on everything you're sharing.
Say it. Tell me, we can rip off
No,
each
literally
other.
this, like all of like the journaling, visualization, and the first thing I started off with saying was like the every day figuring out what is the thing that actually is going to move the needle today.
That too.
Because
what is going to move the needle?
It's so easy to get caught up in busy work and things that need to be
I've done that so much.
Same.
And then I'll make a list of like 20 things, and then you don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you pick, like, it depends on how big these action items are, but like the 3 to 5 or the 2 to 4, like needle mover action items that are going to move the needle forward on that most important thing. Like now for me in my work, I like the agency's so busy, and then Coffee and Good Vibes been growing with the events and then the brand. So I kind of like, I have like set days for each. I have set like time on my calendar where it's like when I'm shooting, when I'm taking meetings, when I'm doing this, and like it comes down to like the knowing yourself, because when you know yourself, you know how much you can do in a day, what times of day you're most optimal, what times of day. I'm huge on wellness, like even though my brand like isn't like yours where I'm in that health and wellness niche for like my career, I like am big on it for like life. You need to have that, so I know what time of day I need to work out at. And like the cool thing I think with my like entrepreneurial life and like creating my own schedule, and I would love to hear what you think for this too for yourself, but like I'm really trying to dial in, and I used to actually compete in bikini competitions like when I was a kid, when I was like in Toronto, when I was like 18. Wow. I was so different then. I looked so different because obviously, you know, like bodybuilding is all about what you eat. Like it's training, yes, but like your diet is everything. Yeah. And you can make your body look super sculpted and lean, or you can bulk, like, but it's all about your macros and like how you're eating. And with that, like I'm really trying, what worked for me when I was in my 20s, like in building my business, I was so like, I just counted my macros. I used to do a lot of like high intensity. I would go to Golds, but like that isn't really
Golds in Venice? Or
yes.
Really? That like, oh, that's where you met Emily.
That's where I met Emily.
Yeah.
That routine isn't really working for me anymore now that I just hit 30. I'm like, okay, wait. I will say my lifestyle, I'm going on a whole rant, but this is like important on knowing yourself.
I'm loving this.
I geek out over this stuff, and I love asking every like founder, entrepreneur what they do, especially women. But like I am noticing that like what I did in my 20s of like the wake up, the HIIT training, the long workouts, I always do workouts fasted. What I'm learning now, especially through having a podcast myself and interviewing all these amazing smart people in the health space, I know it's a lot of info. You probably find that with the health space, but my work life is so high cortisol and stress right now because of like PR and like the work we do, that I'm finding like, okay, my morning routine is not serving anymore. Like I've been learning like I need to do only incline walking and weight training, or Pilates, sculpt classes, or like I do this other type of workout class. I've always been the type of person though who likes strenuous hard workouts. So like for me, like seeing the culture of LA, like the wellness culture, love just like Pilates and walks, like that's really hard for me to just do that because I'm really hyper. I come from like competing in such aggressive workouts, but I'm like trying to understand like, okay, when you're dialing in your schedule and the action items and all of that, like what is my best day for thinking? What is my best day for a workout? What is my best time of day for that? What I like to work out fasted still. So I'm just like, okay, well, what time is that? Like I've definitely adjusted things. Like I've learned like I need to do my visualization meditation, my journaling, my prayer practice all before I work out. I used to wake up and go to Golds at like 5:30 when I used to live on the west side. And like now I'm like, no way, because with the way my work is and like being on my phone for things, I need to do all of that, then touch my phone. And then, yeah, it's just like knowing yourself is the key to everything. Because when you know yourself, you can also dial in your health and wellness. That's going to also move the needle. And the last thing I'll say is like, depending on what industry you're in, if you're starting a brand, if you're wanting to start a brand that's completely irrelevant to wellness, I think it is so important to also treat your wellness and like understand that and plan that in like it's your job, because it shapes everything how you show up, and energy is everything. Energy will determine everything you attract in.
Yeah. I love this, and I love that you're sharing that you did one thing at one point and now you're moving into something else, because what I always speak about as someone who likes to coach people in their fitness and health journey is figure out what works for you. And something that's really important is that we have different seasons in life. And for certain seasons, this works.
Saying that.
this works, and in a different season, something else works. I've had different seasons.
I feel that so much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, what worked January, February for workouts is not working right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so interesting how that works.
And being gentle with ourselves and just loving ourselves throughout the different seasons that we're in, because there really is no right or wrong. Walking and Pilates, I always cannot say Pilates. Pilates. For some reason, it's so hard for me. For some people, that's what works for them. For other people, it's hardcore, intense workouts. And for some, 2 weeks out of the month, it's one thing, and the other 2 weeks, it's something else. And it's just figure out what makes you happy, what benefits you for, like you're saying, for your work. What's actually the thing that you need to thrive in your life. Because what you were also saying is that it's such a big part of your life because it affects your work, right? It affects everything else that you're doing that day. So it should be something that adds to your life. And what do you need to do to make it add to your life and not take away from your life? Right?
Yeah, the biggest thing, I don't know who can relate to this, but the biggest thing that I've been going through is like, wow, when Ayesha is not a 10 out of 10 energy operating from like my happiest state, I don't mean like 10 out of 10 aesthetic body. No, I mean like 10 out of 10 vibe, mood, vibration. Mm-hmm. When I'm not operating in that state, I'm like kind of a disservice to like my work and my team, because my work in PR is so performance driven and it's all about closing deals and aligning with like it's so much performance, and you need to show up your brightest and best to close the deal, to make things happen, like for the bigger campaigns. Like, you just need to be in your optimal state. And whenever I run myself dry, which I do a lot, I'm like, wow, you're not attracting anything from this point. Like, you like going all day on coffee, not eating your meals, like you're actually burning yourself out and you're doing everyone a disservice because you're more antsy, you're not. And I believe that the universe, like, everything comes, it's a reflection. We attract what we are. So when you're operating from a low vibrational state, you're only going to attract people, experiences, opportunities that align to that. So I'm like, so like in this game with myself every day of like, okay, Ayesha, you need to like take a break, go take a break and go on a walk outside, go do like really listening to that, because when you are like magnetic in your magnetic state, you're going to attract everything.
Talk to us about that, because I love that.
I feel like you're like, you have that dialed down.
It's definitely a big passion of mine to align and be in a high vibration and align with this future version of myself that I see. Yeah.
It's so important. I noticed that a lot in my work, like the days where I'm burnt out, or when I'm like, we're all human. Like, I wake up days where I'm more anxious than normal, maybe like a little bit antsy, sassy, and like, I'm like, okay, let's try that. Like, that's why the morning routines and those rituals that ground you are so important. Because like, you can wake up off one day, but then you do the principles and they bring you back to a baseline, or you do the principles and they don't really, but they help a lot. They like make you that much better that day. And also giving yourself that grace too about days. But I really think that in order for us to show up our best self and our brightest self and attract the reality and create the reality we want, we need to look after ourselves. Like, we're the highest priority, because everything is a mirror reflection, like, of what we're putting out.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It is. For the person who doesn't necessarily understand what you're saying when you say that everything is a mirror reflection of ourselves, can you explain that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On a simple like way of even example, an example in like the smallest way, you know, when we're maybe uptight and like running late to something and we're so anxious about it, we're running late. And don't you find those are the times when you get every red light and you like maybe have someone, or like when you're in a crabby mood and you may not be like kind, say you just are like really like, everyone should always be kind, but if you ever were like just not in the best, you end up seeing that like, oh, like someone may cut you off, or like you go to your social media and you might, I feel like the universe works in really crazy ways, but when you're operating like on your highest vibration, when you're kind to everyone, like people will mirror that back.
Yeah.
It's so wild how that like gets reflected immediately in our reality. I always think about that.
Yeah. And same goes with, I feel, when we then become aware that, oh, I'm in this state today,
Let's
let me
stick.
switch it.
Yeah.
How instant you feel the switch too, of like the miracles then starting to show up.
Yeah. It happens so much. Like as an like one as an example, like do you know Expo West?
No.
It's like the biggest like natural food products convention in like California. It like all around, but like it's in California. It's in Anaheim, and I remember that morning, I had a like my car broke down, and then I had to go tow it. And I had to get a rental car because I had this huge convention to go to.
Oh,
and I
my
had like a
goodness.
hotel booked. I had to go there for work, for clients, like be on all day. Like my hair was done. I was like ready to go. And I went to get my, so then after all that craziness, car breaks down, tow the car, then have to get a rental car, come back home, like pack my, like it was all, and I had to be there by like 11 or 12. It was just like crazy that day. And it was a rainy day in LA. Like when I was in that car, like driving to the expo, I was giving myself the biggest motivational pep talk of life. I was like, you're stressed. You're so annoyed with your morning. You're so annoyed with like all the friction you've experienced with like, cause nothing like was just effortless. Like you're waiting for the tow. You go to the car rental place. They're crabby. They're not nice. Like they're angry that you're there. They take so long to deal with you. Like it, when you're just dealing with so much, I was like, okay, Ayesha, you're going to the expo. You're going to have the best 2 days. It's your favorite time of the year. You're going to close business. You're going to be your best self ever. And you're going to turn it around right now. You're going to turn around when you get out of this car. It's going to be like none of that this morning happened. And it's a fresh day and it's the best day ever. And then you go in with that attitude and you almost like gaslight yourself into like this new mindset and vibration. And it's so crazy how magical of like what you attract in comes from. And it's not easy to do. It's definitely hard. Like I found that a lot with like little things that like will trigger me in my day-to-day, and I'm like, okay, reset. Yeah, and not taking things personally, because you cannot control what other people do.
Yeah.
You really
You can
cannot
only control yourself.
So it really comes down to all of our personal internal work.
Yeah. I love that you shared this, because that's something every single person listening to this can apply next time. That's something, yeah. Oh my gosh, we're literally the same. I talk about that all the time.
I always say that. I think it's like moving here, I was so alone.
Yes.
So I had to become my own best friend, like literally.
Okay, let's talk about that. Loneliness. I've dealt with loneliness a lot. Also, I feel, I don't know if you have experienced this, but as you begin to grow, sometimes old friendships you begin to grow out of.
Yeah, and that shedding of them and the welcoming of the new one, even in that inner period, is like very lonely.
Yeah, Alex Hermosi and Chris Williamson, they talk about the lonely chapter, exactly what you were just saying. So that's something you've experienced.
Yeah, 100%. And the biggest thing is like knowing your values and who you are, because then when you know you're so ingrained in who that is, you won't actually have space to tolerate, like, you know, sometimes out of old habits, out of fear of being alone, we go to the old relationship, the old partner that doesn't serve, the old friendships that are not good to you, because of fear of being alone and not having something better coming in. But the thing is, if you don't end those and close those chapters and create the space and show the universe, like, hey, universe, I actually do not tolerate this energy and this vibration and this toxicity in my life anymore. I want space for the new. The universe isn't going to be like, okay, here you go, girl, like right now. No, you have to like, the space, everything comes to you in divine timing. So there will be a gap. There will be a lag. And the more you, in that lag is probably the lesson and the growth and the blessing for you, because you can just continue to build your own and continue to strengthen that own relationship and also your own values. Because it's like, we set the tone, like the relationship all the relationships in our life that we tolerate is our responsibility and our fault. So if someone's not treating you the way that you would like to be treated, it's actually our own fault. And it's so hard because, like, even with me, it's like, I get this all the time. Like, I'm like, oh, why did they treat me like that? And it's like, oh, well, Ayesha, you let them treat you like that. It's your responsibility to, like, tell people, to show people how to love us. And it all stems from, like, the self-respect and love we have for ourselves. So if someone's in your life that, like, isn't actually serving you, loving yourself enough to know, like, okay, you're going to close that chapter and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the good people will come, but it won't often come right away.
And you have to be okay with that solo period of time.
And love on it.
Love on it.
So when you love on it, it comes faster then. The people will come faster. If you hate on it, then the universe is going to make you stay in it longer until you can learn.
And it's, you know, if you're loving on it and you're vibrating from such a high light and frequency then of course you're going to attract other people with that high frequency to you as well, which is just beautiful. But you do have to, in those moments of feeling lonely, you know, it's hard to close a chapter.
I even feel that way about career, like being an entrepreneur and, like, you know, having a podcast. It's like you see people all the time who, like, launch a TikTok or have a podcast, and then it's like they do it, and then all of a sudden they go viral, and then they have like 300,000, then 500K. It's like overnight. Some people that happens, and it can be so easy to be like, okay, I give up because it didn't happen for me. But it's like, we have to keep going and showing up every single day because the journey looks different for everyone. The timeline looks different for everyone. And I always tell myself that every single day. Like, there's podcasters who show up who, like, have a show for a year and then they're top 10. And it's so, I see it. I'm on social media so much, especially with my work. Like, I see it all the time and I'm like, wow, I've had Coffee and a Good Vibe for 6 years and it hasn't hit the chart, but I want it to yet. But I know it's coming, and I know that it's taking this long because I'm building a foundation. I'm becoming a better host. I'm becoming a better listener. I'm also probably going to get the platform when I have the skills and tools to really hold it. Because you also see, like, when people blow up overnight and they don't know how to hold the container of it, they can lose it. Or they lose themselves in it. And then they have all that fame, that money, and then they lose themselves. It's really not comparing to, especially in the entrepreneurial journey and path. Because building a business, building a brand, that takes time.
It does.
And just because it's not happening for you as fast as it maybe happened to someone else you see online, you don't know the full story. But number two, it's like never giving up on that, because honoring that you have a different timeline. And when it finds you, you will be so grateful, like, when it does.
Absolutely. I can really relate to that. I have done social media for many, many years now. And for the last 6 months, I've had the most growth ever. And there were many years where I was stuck at a certain point. And today, I'm so grateful that I didn't take off at that point when I was, like, trying to force it. Because where I was and my intention behind it wasn't in the same place as it is today. It's always been about helping people, but who I am today, so you were talking a lot about, like, knowing who you are. I know so much better who I am today. So today I can handle that in a completely different way. And my messaging, I feel, comes across and is way more pure than it potentially would have been if I'd gotten it earlier. When we're stuck, we can't see that. But, like, we can when we then do get that, you know, I haven't reached my goals either, but I've just experienced a level of growth recently, which, looking back, I'm grateful that it didn't happen before.
Wow.
And also what you were saying about comparison. People hear this all the time, but I think it's so important that we compare ourselves to someone who's in chapter 20 when we're in chapter 1 or 2, right? And we can't.
Yeah. And, like, also, like, celebrating the success of others is such an important exercise.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's so much abundance.
Yeah.
There's so much abundance.
So much. This is, like, one of the things that I really have in my life is, like, if I see someone thriving, celebrating it and seeing it as an inspiration. Because I think that when we see it as an inspiration, then that's when it's going to come to us. Like you were saying about mirroring, like everything. It's like, if we celebrate others and we see that as an inspiration as to like, if they can do it, then I can do it too. That's how I view people who are crazy successful in a way that I want to become successful. It's like, wow, if they can do it, it's an example that I can do it too.
100%. In every way, right? Like even with relationships, like I'm not sure how old you are, your audience.
I'm 29.
So, when's your birthday?
In August.
Wait,
when did you turn 30?
April 1st. So
oh my God, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You just turned 30. It's our big year this year.
It's a big year.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you, like in your 29, like 29 was fine. And then all of a sudden I hit 30 2 weeks ago and I'm like making changes.
Really?
Like, I don't know.
I love that.
About the age. Like,
I love it.
But even with that, like, I think that like with relationships, especially living in LA, I feel like the ages are different when people are settling down. So like hearing people like who meet their partner at like 25, 23, but then there's people who don't meet their partner until 33.
Yeah.
And like not judging.
Or 40.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, there's no judgment.
No.
And like I think like being 30 now, I'm like, okay. I'm at the point though where I'm like so happy as I am alone. So I'm like, okay.
Which is
now
important.
Now we gotta like be comfortable with having someone come in. But like I think like now that I'm at where I'm at, I'm like, I need them to really add to my life. Otherwise I don't really care.
I love that. I went through a breakup last year.
Wow.
And obviously so much growth happens when you go through a breakup. And I was driving in my car and something that I was like feeling really happy, like what you were saying about like you feel so good with yourself. Something that I decided was like, you know what? If I'm going to be single for the next 5 years, I would much rather that because I'll make sure that I'm happy than find a partner that is not going to add to my life, but more so be like a comfortable thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like you were saying before with relationships, it's like, don't settle. If you have self-love and compassion, you take care of you and make sure that other people don't. You allow them to treat you, right? Like you said it so well before and I can't say it in the same way that you said it, but it's so important. It's so important.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Like, the way we treat ourselves is like setting the tone for how everyone else will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are looking or open to it.
And I feel like I've never been like seeking, but like I'm open. And I think that's a big place to be. And then also just like knowing yourself and knowing who you are makes it, I guess, easier and also harder. Like you like, I just am like so self-aware and like who I am that like when you meet the right person, I would assume that I would know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like trusting that gut.
Yeah. Our time, especially as a busy entrepreneur, as you, how do you prioritize that part of your life? Like your personal romantic part of your life?
I will say, like, I'm not like dating to date. Like, oh, it's Saturday, I gotta go. No, I'm like very much like I think with my work, I'm like out a lot. Like I'm at events every night. I'm at dinners. I'm like naturally around a lot of new people, which is great. So if I had a different kind of job, maybe I would be a little bit different. Maybe I would be intentionally going out all the time. But like intentionally, I'm like out every night and I don't even mean to be. It's just like with my work, I have something every night.
Yeah.
Or I'm like in New York or in Miami. So it's like very dynamic with like last week I went to Coachella and we got to do like all the brand events. And it's like,
fun.
You're just like out. So like when it comes to like dating, I'm like open. So it's like if it was someone I like genuinely wanted to get to know, and like even if I was like, oh, I don't see this person being like someone I want to like get serious with, I would still be open to going. Like, which is a difference from before.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it has to be someone I like genuinely like who they are as a vibe even.
Yeah, that's important.
Because time is so valuable.
It is.
I'm like, I know there's like people who will go on dates just to do that. And I guess that's where I do differ. Like, I understand that energy of like just saying yes. But like, I think because I'm so intentional with my time, I will say yes, but it doesn't have to be like my life partner or anyone like I get serious with, but like it has to be a good person, like someone I actually just want to get to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's a little bit of a difference. Because I've had girlfriends who will just say yes for the act of like showing the universe like I'm ready to go on dates and be taken out. But like I think because I'm so busy, I'm like, no, I'd sometimes rather just be home.
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. But also, you are in a great position because you get to meet so many people in real life. A lot of people are sat at
I
home
know
having
some different
to.
jobs, right?
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
they have to be swiping on dating apps if they want to get a date, right? So you're in a really great position in that way.
how do you find it's been for you?
I'm open to it, but I'm very, like, my time is the most valuable and I have to really see potential to go on that date.
Question for you. What is your dream first date? Because my ideal date is like literally not going for dinner. It's
Oh
like,
no, I would never.
it's like going to like go to the farmer's market and get
Yeah.
brunch, or like going to get on a hike and then going to my favorite coffee shop. I don't know, like it's like chill things that I actually am doing.
Yeah. For me,
when
it's like
choice.
it's like going on a walk by the beach, doing a workout, like something active, going on a hike. Like it's something where it's not, let's sit down and have a meal. That's just like, let's be awkward. I'm not an awkward person like that, but still, it's like so much pressure.
Yeah.
And if you're like doing things like you were saying, the farmer's market, it's like there's things to talk about that are more, you can still get deep. I'm like, I won't do small talk for too long. I want to get deep right away because I'm just that kind of person. But also you can have fun with different things. It's not so.
Yeah, what do you say when a guy like asks you to go for like a drink, or like, is that
Also, I don't drink. So literally, if a guy says that, I probably already know that he might not be like my type of person, because I don't even drink. But I mean, if I was really interested in him, then I would be like, how about we go do and then something active instead? Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I am not a big drinker. Like if I'm in New York for like something, like maybe I will have a drink here and there, but like it's like few and far between. Like I can't like count how many times I drink in a year. Like if it's like a special occasion, like I don't know, like I really don't like it. So I also am just so big on like a morning routine. And I love, so like for me, my like ideal first date is the same as you. It's like active things that like that I genuinely do in my spare time.
Yeah. Like, yeah. You might as well get that connection right off the bat, like with what you enjoy doing. Because I think something that I really wish to have in a partnership is similar hobbies, like things that you enjoy doing together. I think that's really valuable, having things that you enjoy, both of you doing. Of course, that doesn't mean like you don't have to have that to have a successful partnership. Absolutely not. But I've just found in my life that's been something I've really enjoyed when I've had a partner where we've had similar interests and lifestyle too. That's been important as well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so key.
Yeah.
It's so key. I bet you meet guys at the gym.
There are many guys at the gym, but I have not said yes to one person that has come up to me. Like I feel energies right away, and I shouldn't be too closed off, but I'm pretty sure of what I'm looking for. And if someone comes to me and asks, let's say at the gym, and I'm unsure, then maybe I would just like kind of let it like take some time so I could get to know him a little bit better just talking at the gym. Just because for me, time is just valuable. If I go and hang out with someone, I want to make sure that it could lead to something. And I feel like I can feel that through a couple of conversations, more so than just like, I saw you and I think you're attractive and I want to go on a date. Like to me, attractiveness, yes, of course you want to be attracted to your partner, but for me, personality and what's it called? Compatibility is so important for me. Like that's the most important. When I was listening to you talk at that podcast event that we were at, I found it so exciting to hear you speak about how you run your podcast, because a couple of people there were saying how they structure out their podcast with the questions and everything is like structured out. And as you might be able to tell from this podcast, I write things down, but I haven't looked at my questions once because I just love everything you shared. And then I get curious about the things that you talk about. And then I want to dive deeper into that because I feel like that's just how the conversation flows so beautifully. Yeah. And when you were talking on that stage at the podcast event, you were saying the same thing.
I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
Because I think then you lose the sauce of like the presence.
Yeah.
And your audience feels like, because you're actively listening and being so present and like there and like creating questions like that come from within, like listening to me and then going off of that. And the audience, I find, like, is a part of that journey. And you could do it with an outline for sure. But, like, if you are, like, focused on the outline, then you lose it. So, like, really great podcasters, I find, like, a Jay Shetty. Like, even Lewis. Like, Lewis House, he has it, his, like, notes.
Yeah.
But it's very, like, you could tell, well, he's, like, writing it during. Like, I've booked a client on his show, and, like, he's, like, writing questions as, like,
Yeah.
And I get it, because it's like the guest is elaborating, so he doesn't forget. But, like, those conversations, like, are the best. Like, he's one of the best podcasters.
Yeah.
In, like, the world, if you will. Like, he's, like, the top show.
Yeah.
And it's because he's, like, actively listening and then writing down. It's, like, so engaging.
Yeah.
And I think when we sometimes are, like, have an outline, especially if you're new to podcasting and you have an outline, but then you're nervous, then it can sound like a little bit robotic. And then the guest, energy is everything. You could tell that the guest is, like, knowing that you're being calculated with it. And then you might set off their vibe and answers a little bit differently.
That's so golden.
For me as a host, the biggest hack has been making a guest feel so comfortable. Because when you make them feel comfortable and, like, seen, then you get all the magic out of them, and then they actually just, like, flow.
I love that.
Whenever you have a guest, do you ever have them say, like, oh, I actually talked about that. I've never talked about that anywhere. That's happened to me so much. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. That's really cool. I love that you said that. That's something I want to set as an intention.
But for you, like, I really respect and admire and can tell, like, you know your community so well. Because I could tell from this whole conversation, like, whatever I would say, when it resonated, you would, like, light up. And I have to listen to your solos because apparently we're so similar. But, like, you literally, like know your community so well. And then it actually makes me feel so comfortable.
That makes me happy.
That, like, okay, this content is gonna... Because at the end of the day, like, all I want to do when I go on a podcast, I don't care to talk about my business or what I'm doing. Like, I only want to add value.
You've added so much value today.
So it's, like, the fact that, like, your, like... body language and energy is, like, receptive to, like, what I'm saying, and then you have your... And I could tell we're very similar.
Yeah.
Like, with what we share on our own solos. So it's, like, so cool because the audience is gonna vibe with it.
Yeah.
I've been really going through it, actually, right now, if I'm allowed to say, like, with having a show for so long and having a PR agency, I've always been, like, just getting, like, the big names. Like, oh, I can get this person or this person, but, like, I don't know if it's all the journaling work I've been doing lately and, like, the identity work of, like, how I'm going to grow my show. But I'm like, whoa, Ayesha, for the past, like, 5 years, I think you were interviewing, like, the wrong type of guest because you're so focused on, like, the name. This is, like, just literally, I've never said this, actually. And, like, it's just been, like, a thought on my head. And I've never said it. I don't know if I'll say it out loud again, like, maybe on my solo. I don't know, because it's, like, a verbal diary. But, like, I literally feel like I need to just start choosing guests that really align to, like, the solos and the content that I like to talk about, because that content's resonating so much. And sometimes when I have these, like, bigger guests, they just talk about their offers, and, like, sometimes those downloads don't hit, and I wonder why. And I'm like, oh, but, like, when you have on someone who, like, maybe doesn't have as large as a brand, or, like number-wise online, or, like, whatever, like, but when they know how to talk to the things that you like to speak about and your audience wants to hear, it hits download wise.
Yeah. I think that's big, and I think it's so true. Yeah.
It all comes down to, like, knowing your community.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that that's going to be your intention moving forward. That's big of you as well, because it's like when you're able to get such big names, that's hard to...
And there's big names that hit. Like, tomorrow I have on, like, I'm doing a podcast shoot day, and, like, 2 of the girls who are coming on are, like, 2 people I've wanted to have on. They're, like, big, respected people in the space, but then they also, I just know they're going to hit for the audience.
So that's a win-win.
So there's, like, both, but I think it's, like, not letting ego take over with, like, certain people that you want on your show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Knowing that when you do have guests that they are going to be aligned with your community. Yeah. That's amazing. Where can people go check out your podcast and everything else that you have got going on?
Well, thank you so much. Honestly, the best place is on Instagram and podcast. So Coffee and a Good Vibe is on all podcast platforms. Where's the main platform that everyone listens to yours? Is it Spotify
It's kind
or
of
Apple?
mixed.
I know, it's so hard
Kind
to
of
know.
mixed. Yeah.
Everywhere. And then Coffee and a Good Vibe on Instagram. And like, I love directing people there because like, we are posting content every single day that is so aligned to the brand that I've created, like routines, personal development. Today we literally posted a journal prompt reel for like how to start your day, and it was like
amazing.
It was like 4 intentional questions with like one on the power of your environment and auditing your environment, like with prompts under that, like just like a lot of very intentional content. But I think like that's been really inspiring for me because when I know what my brand is on the Coffee and a Good Vibe side, like I can serve it so much. And then at Ayesha Sehra is my personal, and that's like, if you want to follow like day to day, candid, entrepreneur, day in the life, I post like all that stuff on there.
Incredible.
But it's been really cool to like grow the community, but like know who you are in that. And that's what I'm telling myself too with the growth. I'm like, oh, now that you're really like getting a group on like who you are, like no wonder the growth didn't happen yet that you see.
Yeah.
Like the hockey stick that we all want.
Mm.
Like it's gradual always. Like when you're putting in the work, it's always gradual.
Yeah.
Like everyone listening, it's like every single day showing up, you're gonna grow steady. But I'm talking about like the hockey stick growth, the viral growth that we all talk about.
Yeah. I have a final question for you. My podcast is called Challenge Your Norm. Whatever comes to you, if you had to challenge the listener to challenge their norm in some way, how would you have them challenge their norm?
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, it's so on brand for what we've been talking about. It's so on brand for me. I would say, depending on where you are, whether you can do this IRL, I recommend the digital version, which I'm going to say is go on social media. And if there's someone you've been wanting to connect with, they could be influencer, a founder, a micro creator, anyone you want, like anyone who you've been like wanting to connect with, shoot them a direct message. Think of something really like heartfelt. Don't just say like, hey, how are you? Or like write something, you're like smiling, write something that's like heartfelt on why you genuinely want to connect with them and shoot your shot.
I love this. No one has ever said that.
Really?
No.
What do they say?
Oh my gosh, just all kinds of different answers. That's why I love this question, because like this is amazing, because I know that the listener right now thought of someone that they're too afraid of reaching out to, and you just challenging them in this way could lead to something amazing.
Even can they tag us if they do it? Like tag Ayesha or Coffee and a Good Vibe.
Yeah, and Pernilla. Yeah, yeah. Please.
That'd be
That's
sick.
exciting.
And maybe they don't have to show the DM. Like you can tag us at any point. Like you could tag us when you did it, like an if you know you know thing, or you could tag us like when you're out for coffee or like
with
Zoom
that
with
person.
Them. Like what? That'd be so cool.
Yeah,
like a screenshot.
And I've really realized, because this year I decided, okay, I want to grow my podcast, so I want to have like guests on more now. Like I want to start taking it more serious. And people who I've reached out to, where I thought like there is no chance, they've gotten back to me. And it's just like, if I had continuously, that's what you started off by saying in this episode.
Who's your dream guest?
Oh, dream guest. I don't think I have one. Oh, I do know. Like Gabby Bernstein and Rachel Hollis. Like people like that.
Her.
Yeah.
We're the same. Because she's like my idol.
Yeah, same. Just because they were like the beginning of my journey of like women who just inspire me like crazy. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Today has been so incredible sitting with you.
Flew by for me.
You just kept on sharing the most incredible things, and we went all over the place. I loved this. Thank you so much for coming on here, and everyone's got to go check out your podcast and your channels and everything that you've got going on. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast episode. If you want to join my community, where we are actually starting my Lean and Strong Summer May Challenge very soon, you can check out the link in the description. I would love to go on this journey with you, help you on your fitness journey and reaching all of the life goals that you have: journaling, nutrition, training, weekly coaching, daily chats inside of our community. It's such a good vibe, and I hope I get to see you there. The link is below, and if you found it useful, please share it with a friend or hit that subscribe button. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.